This is Wycombe Sound.
Hello everybody, you're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wycombe Sound. I am your host, Dane Cobain. This is the weekly show where we talk about the local arts news. We have a different guest on each week. We share a weekly album review courtesy of Twangling Jack Ford over in the Ilk Shed. We share some poetry and or fiction in the Rhylight Zone. Lots of indie/unsigned music. You get the picture. As always, you can email me here at the studio on dane.cobain@wycomesound.org.uk. That's dane.cobain@wycomesound.org.uk. I'd always like to hear from local performers, artists, dancers, poets, you name it. If you would like to come on the show to chat about something, have a bit of an interview, let me know. I'm also keen to hear from people who've got MP3s that they like to share. So we're going to go straight on in to some poems for the Rhylight Zone this week. This is yours truly, myself, Dane Cobain, with some poetry.
Cognitive behavioural therapy. To display help, press the question mark button. Is this courage or stupidity? Is it the act of a madman to repeat the same actions in the hope that the result will differ? Life is for living, for moving and singing, so you can move fast and break things, limbs and guitar strings when you're drinking. Courage is the triumph over fear, so we can be heroes if we choose to. It's not a competition. Life and death are so ethereal, it's hard for us to recognise them. But every day we live and breath we take and meal we eat and book we read are all just one in the eye for the reaper. And if you're ever scared and you think you can't cut it and you'll never make it through the night, just shout out your name into the darkness and remind yourself against the odds you are alive, you are alive, you are alive. Sometimes all you need is one or two words of encouragement. You've got this. I believe in you. Overwhelmed. Overstressed, overworked, overzealous, undernourished, overtired and overexcited, undercover and under the weather, overhyped and misunderstood, overblown, over and now it's over, underground and all around us. I've been bowled over. A poem for the new year. I wrote a poem for the new year where I listed the things I wanted to achieve, and then I ripped out the pages, turned them into a small paper aeroplane and threw it from the window. Crime and community. What happens at Rebellion Festival stays at Rebellion Festival, and each crime has a punishment, easy come, easy go. It's a Sunday to die for, Lucy in the sky with a stolen pint, the dying of the light with an IPA. Mama just killed a man and I don't want to die, it's not my time, I'm still alive, I'm still writing. Prevention is better than the cure in the course of law, at least at the source of the police force. You put the unity in community, we take the hood out of neighbourhood. Kids can cause trouble by digging in the rubble when they want to play football, but if we burst their bubble we can stop the struggle, a little magic for muggles for the muggles who need it. Bringing people together creates communities and stops the bad guys from being bad guys, so Sunday Assembly is suddenly stopping armed robberies. Jacob Pop had a tobacco shop in Frogmore where he sold lots of chocolate on a Sunday. He fought the law and the law lost. Once you pop you can't. Falcon Heavy. Take off and land the good ship Falcon Heavy, launching itself up and away into the atmosphere, another little piece of history. Who needs the work of David Bowie? He's out there himself amongst the stars. He's up high in the sky in the light, a symbol of the future as subtle as a train at the end of a tunnel. I think it might be beautiful. Perfect. You know, you don't have to be perfect all the time and out of the box. You can make mistakes and shrug your shoulders. Chances are no one even notices because you know we're the primary protagonists in the stories we tell about ourselves and no one cares unless you have something to give to them. Life can be a vulture pecking the flesh off the bones of its enemies. Still, death can be an asshole and when you spit in his eye you might just find yourself running. All I want to know is when the bar opens and when the bar closes and lowers. There's a world out there. There's a whole world out there on the other side of your window and it doesn't really count if you crack it open and let some air in. The bubble you live in will burst someday. There's a whole world out there even if you only see it from a computer screen or if you lie in bed and read about it. Even fantasy fiction has a grain of truth in it. There's a whole world out there living on edge, waiting for someone to make a mistake so they can blog about it until someone hits the big red button and the bombs rain down from Moscow. There's a whole world out there, not life on Mars, but intelligent thought in the minds of young philosophers, and all we see on TV are bad millennials staring at their phones in restaurants. There's a whole world out there, and the world inside your head is only the beginning. Carve your path. Carve your path like a pumpkin, hollow it out and put a candle there. Use it to light the way as you fumble in the darkness until you find whatever you find you're looking for. Burrow through the snow until the tunnel you build collapses in on you, like a Mexican drug lord breaking out of a jail cell. Be the Mexican drug lord. Fight your way out of the trap you're in and try not to get into trouble. Break laws if you must, but only if the reason you break them seems reasonable. Rise up and rebel, not in the company of other people, but in the comfort of your own living room, posting posts and blogging blogs and talking about books on YouTube. One day you'll have enough and you won't know you're full until you're no longer hungry. Carve your path or have your path carved for you. You can go one way or you can go the other. Just don't let someone else decide for you. Who knows? Who knows whether you know enough? Who knows whether weather will wear a wearable? Who is ill in the easy evening when each epic explorer ate a weightlifter? Who hopped the hula hoop in the hardest hole ever? Who are you and where did you come from? And where in the hell has my mind gone? Stress. I could explode sometimes like a bomb disposal guy cutting the wrong wire, and you thought your job was stressful. You see, it turns out I'm at my most relatable when I'm clutching my chest and trying not to panic. I'm at my best stressed. I'm blessed to believe in what I believe in. And you know it's real when the weight of the world feels like a rucksack and you're running through the grass to find somewhere to put your tent up. And even on holiday, I worry I'm not getting my work done. There's so much on my list I can't keep up with it. Trust me, I'm trying to turn into a dragon, but I can't get my wings off the ground.
Those were some poems by myself, Dane Cobain. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wycombe Sound, and this is Fabulous Parfait with Je rentre à pied. Say it more slowly if you'd like. It's in French. Je rentre à pied. I return on foot.
Uber à 19h, tu me prends en bas de chez moi. Tu donnes le nom de la boîte, ta CV va transpirer. Au bar à 22h, toujours pas prêt à danser. Encore un peu trop froid, t'es qu'à ta 3e vodka. Lâche-toi, oublie tes inhibitions. Lâche-toi avant de toucher le fond. T'as pas payé à l'entrée pour voir les autres s'enlacer. Quand tu m'as invité, j'espérais bien t'embrasser. Et puis je me suis maquillée exprès pour t'émoustiller. Mais vu ce que t'as consommé, tu risques pas de remarquer. Lâche-toi, j'ai envie de m'amuser. Lâche-toi, je suis venue pour danser. Oui, j'aime la tequila, mais j'en veux pas, me force pas. Non, franchement, non, merci, ça va. Si j'attaque Malibu, je cracherai la tête dans le cul. Trop tard le bip. Et puis, je suis pas venue pour venir bourrer dans la rue. Les nez ont des urgences, cache mon teint d'ingénu. Lâche-moi, je suis venue pour oublier. Lâche-moi, tu commences à me saouler. Lâche-toi, oublie tes inhibitions. Lâche-toi avant de toucher le fond. T'as pas besoin de ça pour être heureux dans ta vie. C'est un cercle vicieux, t'en auras jamais fini. La musique de Kéké craint autant que le DJ. Je suis prête à rentrer. Tu pourrais me raccompagner? met à se déhancher. Sauf que moi, ton état, il est à ma volupté. Lâche-moi, lâche-moi, tu es vraiment trop bourré. Lâche-moi, lâche-moi, j'appelle la sécurité. Lâche-moi, lâche-moi, plus question de t'embrasser. Lâche-moi, lâche-moi, je préfère rentrer à pied. Je préfère rentrer à pied. Finalement, je rentre à pied. Bon bah, je rentre à pied.
Fall into the endless void. Escaping all the world is a story. I'll take you to a place where everyone knows me. I'll let you in and find a Michael Lugosi. Where the darkness has conquered the light. And you feel my love start to die. I'll be there like a vampire in night. Feel the heat like a burning wind. Feel the poison on your neck. There's one thing with you to love you. Just see it burns out gracefully. When my love has banished your bound, and your resistance is surrender bound. I'll be there like a vampire in the night. Lay down, close your eyes, relax, and I will start to write you till you scream. Be my Nosferatu. Be my Nosferatu. Fall into the endless void. Escaping all the world is destroyed. I'll take you to a place where everyone knows me. I'll let you meet a friend of mine, Lugosi. When the darkness has conquered the light, and you feel my love start to die. I'll be there like a vampire in the night. In the night, 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 in the night. When my love has banished your frown, and your resistance is surrender bound. I'll be there like a vampire in the night.
That was Vampire Song by The Ilk, which is my band. Before that we had Je rentre à pied by Fabulous Parfait. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wycombe Sound. I'm your host Dane Cobain, and I am joined in conversation by Caylia Wallace, who runs an organisation called throughtheeyes, and she's also instrumental in the organisation team for Hybrid Festival, which is currently taking place at Wycombe Arts Centre. So over to Caylia.
Okay, so the first question is one that I ask everybody, which is, what was the last book that you read and what did you think of it?
The last book that I read in its entirety, I'm not really a book reader, but I guess that's what I have to say. The last book that I read in its entirety is The Shack, and forgot who the author is, but The Shack is also a movie, and it's about without telling it, basically the main character, he loses his daughter on his watch. She is brutally killed, and um, through the journey of him forgiving the murderer, he rediscovers his relationship with God in like this big, like long, what you would call like a dream, and where God's character is revealed to him in like different ways, and God's identity is revealed to him in different ways, and things of that nature. So that's the last book that I can think off at the top of my head that I read it in its entirety. I'm good for starting books and not them. So yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, no, I know a lot of people like that, to be fair. Cool. So I've got a lot of different stuff I want to chat to you about today. Obviously, most of it we'll chat quite a little bit about the Hybrid Festival, which you've obviously, I mean, you've only just flown over, right? Are you still in isolation at the moment?
Yeah, I'm still in isolation. Um, it ends tomorrow because I'm fully vaccinated, so I'll still have
Yeah.
a home kit test, but like it ends for me tomorrow instead of Wednesday. Um, so yeah, I flew over. I left the States on Wednesday and I got here on Thursday morning.
Cool. Cool. And I guess this is more a stateside thing for you, but can you tell us a little bit about Through the Eyes, what it is and what you do?
So Through the Eyes is my visual and performing arts company. I started it back when I was in college about 5 years ago, and it really started off as a platform for artists. Like I would interview artists. I would have like artist showcases and things like that that I would put on with my own money. Like I didn't have anybody backing me or anything. And if I was also a dance major in college, so with that being said, I was in a pretty rigorous program, so there wasn't much like part-time jobs I was working. So imagine
Yeah.
like how much I was doing with my I was really literally putting my own money into something that I didn't know what it was going to be. So it first started out as Through the Eyes of Kay because my name is Kayla, and then when I made it a business, like got my LLC, I changed it to Through the Eyes. And so it started off as a blog, a platform for up and coming artists, and then it slowly transformed into my visual performing arts company where I create dance work, where I create film work, documentaries, short dance films, and things like that. I'm starting now to bring in other artists in my works and things of that nature. I just gave away my first scholarship, book scholarship in the States. And I'm also developing Through the Eyes Kids, where I would put on recreational dance classes at a low cost of $5. Simply the $5 is just like administration fees and
Yeah.
like that, but give kids an opportunity to take dance classes whenever they please or at a low cost. So that's what Through the Eyes is, my visual
Mm.
arts company.
That's awesome. And it sounds like you kind of, I don't know, you're doing quite a lot of positive social change there as well. So it's nice to have that as, part of your job essentially. And you're kind of, as you say, providing opportunities for kids, and you're broadening the arts, and you're showcasing different artists and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, part of my artistic statement is to bring awareness to certain things. I am a Christian, but part of what I want to kill the narrative that Christians are judgmental. I have my own life. Um, I made my own mistakes, so I could never look at anybody else's life and look down on their life. So also part of my walk, I believe, as a believer in Jesus Christ, is also bringing awareness to things that are happening in the world that grieves God's heart. So yes, I'm going to talk about racism in my piece. Yes, like I have a piece called Black Women, and in America, Black women are highly undervalued and devalued and abused and misused on many fronts in the workplace, in relationships, even from our own Black men and things like that. It's not just about other races. So I have a piece about that. So I think in my faith, I'm pretty much still like a real person. I don't pretend to be something that I'm not, and that's all shown in like the work that I create.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I mean, I suppose it's good in a way because you're doing your own thing, you're able to do that. You know, if you were working for a big company or something like that, then you'd probably be, told what to do and what to think and that sort of thing. So it kind of gives you that freedom to pursue that, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. Not to say that I don't want to. I think big, larger companies will like eventually like hire me in the future for like creative directing work or like
Hmm.
choreographic work or producer work and things like that because I do have a master's degree in media. So I think I will begin to get hired for that. And I don't think I need to come in and be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm a Christian." I just
Hmm.
think the work that God has done on my heart will just influence like that space because I really think he just wants to show that his people are the people who just like love. Like you could be anybody, you could be part of the LGBT community, you could be Israeli, you could be black, you could be white, you could be a child, and you could be whoever, and he really just wants to show that like he's creating people who just love, and then we go
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, cool. So obviously, one of the main things I want to talk about today is Hybrid Festival, which you're working with Signdance Collective on, and you've got you're quite active throughout quite a few of the different events in the programming. I wondered if you could sort of summarize your involvement in Hybrid Festival.
So my involvement in Hybrid Festival is honestly credited to my late friend Lionel and Macaulay. And so I curated and produced Nights, which is a two-night feature in Hybrid Festival that's going to showcase artists from New Jersey and from the UK. And it will be like a virtual exchange. We'll also have in-person audiences in the respective arenas. And also, I'm doing my own work that I did with their time with Signdance Collective's Time Project. And I'm expanding upon that work that was seen in the Time Project last year during the pandemic. And then I'm also teaching workshops with Subi. So, Signdance Collective, like, I honestly am grateful to them because they really brought me in, like, on the creative side and gave me things to do and operate in a way that I always dreamed to, like stuff that I already do at home, and now I can do it here, like a different location that I've never been.
Yeah, yeah. And so, on the subject of Lionel, I mean, I only met him once or twice, because obviously he visited Wycombe quite a few times and had been at the Arts Centre and whatnot. And I just wondered if you could maybe share one or two of your favorite memories of him.
Lionel was one of the first artists that Through the Eyes worked with. When I
Hmm.
first started doing interviews, it was my second artist that I interviewed before I like started recording them on camera. I would like have like I would do it like over email or whatever, ask questions, and they would have to send me the questions back. And then I would like do like a magazine kind of article feature on my website with pictures of them. And he was the second artist that I interviewed. And then he was one of the most enthusiastic artists that I had in my open mic nights. And he was in both shows. And the last not the last thing he said to me, but one of the things I remember him saying to me during that time is he was like, I anytime you call me, I'm gonna do it because I believe in what you're doing. He was like, I will come here because the open mics that I had, they were small. There was no more than like 30 people in the room. He was like, even if there was one person in the room, I would still come here. He was like, I really believe in what you are doing. And I said this when he passed away. I said, I think he believed in Through the Eyes at the time more than I did. And
Yeah,
so that was one of my like fondest memories. He was just so enthusiastic about what I was doing and I couldn't understand why. And because I was still unsure and not confident about like launching my own company in college as a dance major when every other dance major is worrying about dancing with the next biggest artist
Yeah.
and or the next biggest company. And I was just like, well, I want to do my own thing. So.
You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wycombe Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain. I'm here in conversation with Caylia Wallace, and this is Without My Addiction with olanzapine. That was olanzapine by Without My Addiction. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wycombe Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain, and I'm here in conversation with Caylia Wallace of Through the Eyes. And she's also on the team that's organising Hybrid Festival that's currently taking place at Wycombe Arts Centre. Over to Caylia.
Yeah.
Cool. That's really nice. Yeah. And I mean, it sounds like you still carry that, like a lot of that inside you, you know, because I mean, I suppose you know, now that you've sort of developed more and you've kind of kept growing through the eyes and stuff, I suppose it's one of those things where each success kind of gives you a little bit more sort of belief in yourself. But definitely during the early days, it sounds like that was almost the fire that kind of kept you going. Yeah.
Yeah, because also like Lionel has a lot of influence and like we both come from the same town. He's actually like his family's house is walking distance from my house.
Yeah.
So we kind of our families grew up together. His younger sister is one of my closest friends. And he has I would say he has a lot of influence in the town. And a lot of people know him, a lot of people loved him. Like it was like a really, really sad day when he passed away in our
Yeah.
town. And so for him to co-sign something I was doing, I was really honored and like humbled by that because I don't feel like a lot of people from like where we from what was like looking at what I was doing or even cared
Yeah.
about what I was because I was creating art, but I was also creating art and curating events and putting things together like with a purpose to like give back and put the next generation forward. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Cool. So, some sort of still on the subject of hybrid festival, I guess. So you mentioned the workshop that you're sort of co-hosting with Subi. Can you tell us much about what you've got planned for that?
So, with the workshop, I plan to with Subi, we're gonna combine like dance and writing. But with that, for me, my perspective and my ideal for it is to because though I am a dancer, my other degree is media and strategic communication. So putting things on paper to me is important.
Hmm.
So I plan to bring a little bit of that in, like putting things on paper and manifestation and visioning and things like that, and how putting something on paper turns into performance work. So like or movement work or speaking work or like spoken word or like if you one day want to be a screenplay writer and things like that. So um my purpose in there is to make the connection between putting things on paper, writing and dance.
Yeah, yeah, that's really interesting because I mean, I suppose that that almost goes back to what you were first doing with Through the Eyes as well, when you're sort of, you're almost the go-between between, an artist and whoever it is that you're reaching with your, your write-ups and your interviews and that kind of thing as well. Um, so one of the things I wanted to ask as well, about Macanites in particular, because I know you've sort of been working on the lineup. What can you tell us about some of the performers, sort of either from the UK or from New Jersey or both?
So I really believe I'm really confident that this is going to be a very well put together show in cohesive order because of the performance we have. So from the UK, we have a lot of a poet and the work is different and there's like a contrasting feel because we have two rap artists from New Jersey who are performing like two or three of their songs, and then we also have two dancers from New Jersey, but then we also have a dancer in the UK. So I believe it's going to be like a very versatile show in the mix of showing Essence of Time films and
Hmm.
time project short films that were done last year with Signdance Collective. And also during the quote unquote intermission, you'll be seeing a short dance film that I worked on last year during the pandemic. And I really believe like once you see the show, it's going to show everything we went through last year to like what we're back to now. So you have the films that were created when we were in isolation, and then now you're actually being able to see people perform in front of your face again. I believe that's a wonderful thing. I believe it's going to be a really versatile show, and the two areas are really going to, because though we're both showing art in two places, what I noticed about the lineup is that there's a certain feel here that's connected to word and poetry, which is so amazing because that's who Lionel was. And then
Mm.
there's a certain field there that is connected to the hip hop culture, and that's also who Lionel was.
Yep.
And a lot of the pieces, like the I set my choreography on one of the dancers, Black woman that I was just talking about. And if you know Lionel, he really valued the Black woman. His sister
Yep.
is African woman. His mom, well, she's an African American woman. His mom is now African American woman, and he like taught. If you listen to his music, he talked about like Black women a lot. I think somebody might say one of his songs like Mayweather was a little nasty, but it's just him like valuing like the Black woman. And then we feature his work time um that is in there in a dance, and so it's gonna start with his song time, the video that they did with the time project, and then it's gonna end with choreography that I set to his song on a dancer who dances with a well-known company, Philadanco, out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I believe it's going to be a really versatile
Mm.
show. And with the artists that were brought to me from the UK, I also really tried to put it together where the show represents who he was. That even if we don't say his name at all throughout the show, it really is going to represent who he was, as if he created his own company and this is what we got out of it.
Yeah, I really like that, and I think as well, there's so many different types of media being showcased there, and as you say, they all kind of do relate back to Lionel because he was almost like a Renaissance man. He wore a lot of different hats. He was a poet. He was a spoken word artist. He was, whatever he turned his hand to, really.
He was a
So I think it's
dancer.
really interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, he was known for he was really great athlete too in high
yeah,
school. If you know him after a certain period of time, you may not know that he was like one of the star track runners in in high school. He was one of the star football players at our high school. And then it was like you said, whatever he put his hand to, he was a great dancer as
yeah,
well. A great mover. He was just a lot. He was just really talented, and that's what I think the show is going to show. And when I was putting the order together, so hopefully I don't have to make any more changes. I really
mm,
put it together in an order that is going to tell a story and bring us somewhere.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Cool. So just a few questions to end on. Because I don't want to keep you too long as well. And I can't have the interviews too too long anyway. One of the things I was wondering was how do you find a balance between expressing yourself through your own creativity and supporting others with theirs, because you do a bit of both. So how do you find that balance, and how do you get the time?
Um, well, time, I'm still working on that. I just like have a love for the arts. So there's not one to me without the other. I feel
Yeah,
like I can't continue to create if I'm not inspired by who else is creating. I was inspired by what Lionel was creating, his wordplay, his musicality in his words when there wasn't
hmm,
even any music behind it. I'm inspired with by what Jameer, he goes by Mir. He's one of the artists from New Jersey that's going to be performing at Maconites. I'm inspired by what he's creating because he's also a photographer. And then
yeah,
great photographer, a great media artist, and then came out last year with his first set of music. And he's great at that. I'm inspired by a paint artist. I'm inspired by Signdance Collective that they can just go across the world and give dance, give movement, give theater a new sound, a new perspective. Um, and also cater to different artists and types of artists with different disabilities and different needs and stuff like that. I'm inspired by all those things. So I feel like I can't do one without the other. So that's where I find balance. Um,
yeah,
time is still hard because I have a full-time job, like, and teaching dance, and having my own media business. But like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life is to work with arts. And I was
yeah,
telling them the other day, I was like, if I'm not teaching next year, I'm okay with that because I may be performing or I may be choreographing more or creative directing more. And if I'm teaching again in 5 years, I'm okay with that as long as I'm still connected like to the arts. If I'm working in
yeah,
an administrative position where I'm a director of operations at in an arts program, I'm okay with that too because I'm still connected to the arts. I feel like you can't do one without the other.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Cool. And so we've talked a bit about Hybrid Festival. I mean, do you have any particular? I suppose Maconites is the big one for you that you're looking forward to. But do you have any other particular of the events there that you're looking forward to?
I'm definitely looking forward to the workshops because I believe and like I have a performance as well, but performing that's fine. I can perform anywhere, but I'm really interested in doing the workshops because then I get to connect with like the people here
Yeah,
more and be able to go into not just the academic part of teaching, but a really creative like workshop part
yeah,
of teaching, really workshopping through things and creative things and help giving people direction and ideas to flow off the next idea and things like that. I'm really looking forward to the workshops. I like to connect with people, and I feel like connecting with people brings you to something else.
yeah. And again, you never know where you might find the next person whose work really inspires you as well. So And
Right.
that's a pretty good opportunity, isn't it? So,
Right. Yeah.
cool. And just one question to end on then. So in terms of yourself and Through the Eyes, what have you got planned next for like the rest of this year and into 2022? And also, where can people follow you to, stay up to date?
Honestly, this was like the biggest thing that has happened for me since I begun Through the Eyes, besides like getting into different choreography showcases in New York and
Yeah.
things like that, and getting into different festivals and all this stuff like that. So I honestly haven't thought about what's next. I always think about what's next. I'm always thinking about what's next. I think this is the first time that I'm stopping and pausing and being in this moment, because I believe when I leave here and at the end of August, it's going to bring me to my next. So I'm not
Yeah.
even going to have to, like, I've done all the planning, I've done all the writing, I've done all the vision boarding I can do. So I believe like being in this moment and accepting what's happening right now when I leave at the end of August is going to bring me to my next, and that will be my next. I will be going back to teaching in September, and still teaching and things like that. And I'm sure now that, well, we don't know what COVID is doing next with all
Yeah.
this variants or whatever. But if the stages are open, I'm sure I will have my choreography on the stage, because now I'm creating a repertoire. I have Black women, I have testimony, I have elements of 92. So I have a few different works now that I can just take that I've already done and set on a new group of people or the same group of people. And so I'm sure one of my works will be on a stage by the end of this year, God willing that they don't shut us down again.
Yeah, for sure. And where can people follow you as well?
You can follow me on Instagram at throughtheeyes.org. Not .org, Through the Eyes org. So Through the Eyes is THROUGHTEEYES. So you don't have to put two E's between the and
Yeah.
I. So it's going to look like Through the Yes.
Yeah.
Org, like organization, just put org. And then my personal Instagram is at Caylia Wallace, and it's CAYWALLACE.
Big thank you to Caylia Wallace for joining me. My name is Dane Cobain. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wycombe Sound, and this is Uncle Pennybags by The Goat.
Uncle Pennybags comes to mind, he's got a proposition I can't decline. The game he runs will make me mighty fine. He gives me a penny, the rest is alone. I play on my own and I'm the pawn. I figure out the rules as off you go. Disconcerted I play as people around me keep saying, some win, some lose, there is no other way. Be watchful as your eyes go blind. Be charming as your mouth goes dry. Be savvy as your brain goes numb. Be a lover as your heart goes down. I get accustomed to the sound of the dice I trade, I deal. It even feels nice, but it's nowhere near enough. I must play twice. The rent goes up, I'm kicked out of Brick Lane. By the time I'm in Strand, I'm read by 10k. Just one more chance, no go, I'm thrown in jail. I lost all I had to the game, yet people keep saying, some win, some lose, there is no other way. Be watchful as your eyes go blind. Be charming as your mouth goes dry. Be savvy as fate sits strong on our Phoebe mutual spite. Unscathed by battles fought by hammer, sickles, dynamite, burnouts and constant worries hardly equip us for a war. We'll fight with broken bones, united by an uncompromising no.
That was The Sea and the Girl by Clive Whitelock. Before that we had Uncle Pennybags by The Gult. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wycombe Sound. I am your host, Dane Cobain. And it is time to head over to the Oak Shed for this week's album review from Twangling Jack Ford.
Pet Sounds, the Beach Boys. It all starts with that simple chiming arpeggio that is so cleverly wrong, yet so suited to the opening of the song that it draws you in like an insistent fairground barker. Anyone with a TV knows the track. We have all watched the ubiquitous Lily James simpering her way through the mobile phone ads. Ruining, wouldn't it be nice? All in the pursuit of filthy lucre. Pet Sounds is a glorious confection, though there may be too much dessert and not enough sandwiches. The LA studio musicians provide the best there was in 1966, and the Beach Boys provide a warm wall of shimmering backing vocals, with the kind of purity that only an ensemble of mostly related members can ever achieve. The tunes are the pinnacle of innocent 60s pop: Caroline No, Don't Talk, Put Your Head on My Shoulder, and Sloop John B. A grand final hurrah for innocence, with no sign that music, the world, and everything would soon get much darker. But most of all, it contains the contender for the World Heavyweight all-time greatest songwriting, producing and performing contest. the indisputably brilliant, epoch-shattering God Only Knows. And it has possibly the worst cover artwork ever. Pet Sounds, the Beach Boys.
Big thank you to Twangling Jack Ford for this week's album review. Thank you to Caylia Wallace for being this week's guest. Big thank you to everyone whose music I shared. As always, you have been listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wycombe Sound. We're on every Tuesday at 7 PM. We're repeated Monday nights. You can also listen again on the Listen Again on Wycombe Sound's website, or you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, all of that stuff. You can also find us on Facebook if you search for The Art Show on Wycombe Sound, so do give us a like over there. And you can reach out to me here at the studio by dropping me an email on dane.cobain@wycombesound.org.uk. That's dane.cobain@wycombesound.org.uk. So, all of that being said, thank you so much for listening, and I'm going to leave you with one last tune. This is Jordana Blake with U-Shaped Hole. Fun fact, she was the very first guest we had on the show. Alright, over to Jordana. I'll see you next week.
Take me walking through the park, through the brambles, through the dark, and I still have the sky and a home, you shaped So toss your ego in the sea. Don't want me, that's news to me. 'Cause I still live rent free in her. In me shaped
Take a breath, lost yourself and lost your way. Find your voice, you can find the words to say. Talk about it, stand up tall, shout it out again. Slip away into this endless night and sleep. Take my heart, take my soul, they're yours to keep. We were to a time when we had those forgotten nights again. You'll find yourself a soul, a reason to begin, and we'll fall away when all is said and done, and you're the only one. Find a place to disappear without a trace, slip inside the person that you left behind, and follow your heart, tear it apart, make a new start. You'll find your way, you're gonna find your way. Slip away into this endless night and sleep. Take my heart and take my soul, they're yours to keep. Rewind to a time when we had those forgotten nights again. You'll find yourself a soul, a reason to begin, and we'll fall away when all is said and done, and you're the only one. And I'll take your hand, 'cause you can understand, you can never plan. When you lost yourself and you lost your way, you're gonna find that voice and the words to say. Rewind to a time when we had those forgotten nights again. You'll find yourself a soul, a reason to begin, and we'll fall